welcome to Doctor Who, Season 1, Episode 9, The Empty Child. There it is. And also Episode 10, The Doctor Dances. I was trying to remember which one was which at the start, because I'm so used to with Star Trek having the name on the thumbnail. I was like, shoot, it's not in front of me. But yes, today, I unfortunately will not be joined by my brother Caden today. He's been very busy the past few days working on something. He was up till like 2:30 a.m. and it looks like he's still asleep, which is unfortunate. But of course, it's also fortunate in some ways because, especially for such a beloved episode, the first Moffat episode, just in general for our watch-throughs and our watch-alongs, it does free me up. I like to try and avoid spoilers and some stuff for Caden. Like, even though he's seen, I can kind of talk about the 10th and 11th Doctor stuff. I try and avoid, revelations that haven't actually happened in the show yet. Even though I assume everyone watching the watch-alongs has seen them. And so, this frees me up to talk about, like, future Moffat stuff, anything else in the shows, whole bunch of classic stuff. All that stuff. But yeah, first off, if you don't know what we're doing today, we are basically recording a audio commentary track live. For legal reasons, I can't just stream an episode of Doctor Who. Maybe one of the missing ones, but we're a long way from those. So it's bring your own video, bring your own audio. We will have some tools to help you keep up in sync. But for Doctor Who, this is a little bit of a problem because there are two versions of every episode, well, every modern episode of Doctor Who, at least, from, unfortunately, the first season until I'm not actually doing watch-alongs like that, but there is the original UK transmission, and then there is the original US transmission. They are exactly the same, except the American version is about 4% slower. Yes, slower. If you're watching live, we are doing the American version. It's just I get access to these from the Blu-rays. Streaming services have different ones. I don't know which is which. Someone, please tell me. It won't matter. It'll all be on Disney soon anyway. But, yeah, if you look in the description, probably the title if it's the UK version, it'll tell you which one you're watching, and there'll be a link in the description to the other one, although the UK ones, I'll probably start uploading these during the 15th Doctor's one. After we're done with the 9th Doctor, Season 1, I'll go back and do the Season 1 episodes. Man, I've just realized how hard the Doctor Who reviews are going to be, especially that first week where we got 2 of them, because my throat takes a bit of a beating with Discovery. It's a long hour of talking, and at least I'll have Caden to support me for those. Yes, what we're going to be doing in a little bit, just giving some people time to get set up, is we're going to be doing a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go countdown, and on go, we're all going to hit play. And so then we should be synced up, unless you didn't listen to the UK warning at the start. Yeah, The Empty Child. I mean, we're doing both today, I'd like to point out. Even though Caden's not here, Shruti Gadwal's on his way, and we have got a schedule to keep, so we are doing both of them. He'll get caught up on his own later. But yeah, I mean, it's a classic. I especially as a kid, when I would have watched these, maybe like, I don't know, 7, 8-ish, I didn't do horror. I've said this a lot with even the original Star Trek. As a kid, I remember, like, the proverbial behind the sofa. It was actually under a blanket for me. But, like, I didn't do horror. And you may be thinking to yourself, original Star Trek, that's not really, like, scary. Like, maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but it's not scary. Yeah, you're right. That's the point I'm making. I really didn't do horror. But Doctor Who was always the one where I'd actually be engaged. I think that's kind of the famous sort of thing with Doctor Who, is even the little kids would come and watch the scary episodes. For some reason, it just worked with Doctor Who, and yeah, it was scary. Like, it always Doctor Who's very much like light horror, you know, like family entertainment, a little more atmospheric, I guess. And yeah, sometimes it goes, every now and then there's a psychological horror. Wild Blue Launder Midnight. But it's good. And of course, you got the empty child, the gas mask kid. Famous ending. We'll all get to these scenes. But Moffat under Davis. I mean, all of them are great, except I'm not a huge fan of... what's it called? Oh my god. Girl in the Fireplace. That one. It's fine. I don't need the hype. But yeah, in a few weeks, we'll get more Moffat under Davis, so we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's another one of these. But I think I've rambled on enough without Caden. He is not online. I'm going to hit play, and then, like, he's instantly going to come online. He's going to come online just after we've been doing it long enough that I can't have him just hot join. But yeah, I will go ahead and, start showing the episode. Ignore the blurry time bar at the bottom of the screen. That's definitely not VLC Media. Actually, it's copyrighted. I don't think I can claim that. That is VLC Media. Damn. Some people were almost fooled. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then on go, we all hit play. Where's my little timers? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I think I was a little fast there, but oh well. Right. I don't think it is. It's always bothered me. It's a nice joke, and I really wish we'd kept the whole red mauve thing. Literally all the seasons, every season after this. Another fun fact, I think this one's pretty well known, but Chula, the name of these alien races, is the name of, I think it was like an Indian or Thai restaurant somewhere in southern Eastern Asia. Yeah, that part of the world right there, thanks. Where like Russell T Davies and a lot of the producers met and kind of like planned out Doctor Who. I do like this intro. It's not my favorite intro. I mean, Eighth Doctor, come on. But you know, it's the first. It's got that nostalgia. It's that old timey. Especially because I listen to a lot of Big Finish. I don't hear this intro a lot because they don't do a lot of 9 and 10. I mean, compared to, 6, 7, 8. But, yeah. Also, yeah, enjoy Caden's not here, so I'm going to be talking over, like, the whole dang thing. I'm kind of thinking that I thought does not out of character, but I'm kind of, because I know it's Stephen Moffat, trying to hear these lines in Matt Smith's voice. And I'm like, yeah, that works. Oh, the introduction of the psychic paper. Oh, never mind. I don't remember. Like, as a kid, any other show, I would have been like, nope, I'm out here. Little boy asking for his mommy in the dark. Done. I'm gone. And he's in a gas mask. God, how did little me... Like, we're only 9 episodes in. Those first 8 episodes must have really made an impression on child me. But Doctor Who's always... But like most of the best episodes of Doctor Who are when it leans into horror, you know? I don't know why. It just it goes real well. Oh, and then there's Big Finish horror when they're not as constrained by you know, the limits of what you can do or uh TV sensibilities. Am I turning up the gain? How about this? That looks good. I leaned back in my chair. I'm in here for 2 hours. It's a shame Caden's not here, actually. He owns an old, like, Soviet-era gas mask, because that's just the kind of guy he is. uh... Ow. Whoops. I was gonna... Don't laugh at... I was gonna stealth move my mouse to mute my microphone because I was about to slide it along the desk. And then I forgot my mouse was keeping the time bar on screen. And then while I was explaining that, I muted my mic because I was gonna move my mouse. That went wrong. Man, without Caden here, these things go to shambles. Actually, I did always find this bit weird. Because that rope is hanging from a blimp that I guess is just holding stationary above London and no one noticed. Like, yeah, they just noticed. But, you know, blimps are slow. Thank you, sweetie. It's such a Moffat villain as well. I don't even know why. It's like I guess the repeated phrase, the kind of innocuous image of like it's just a gas mask, you know? That's just a thing. That's not like a weird alien thing. That's just a thing. Oh man, I forgot we meet Jack this early. I think one of those planes went behind a blimp in the background, but I can't rewind to check. Oh, and of course, such a Moffat idea coming up here. I love that bit. I'm thinking as well, because every now and then they use the phone as like an actual phone. I think that's only really under Moffat. I I can't picture 10 using the phone. Yeah, I don't... Child me, well done. I didn't do horror for the longest time either. Like, well into teen years. If episode 9 wasn't the gas mask, it was midnight, I'd be out. We wouldn't be doing Doctor Who. The next time I get a prank call or like just a spam call or anything, a number I don't recognize, I'm just gonna pick it up and be like, "Who is this?" And it's like, "Did you know your car insurance?" Yeah, I'm like, "How did you even ring this number? It's not even a real phone." Just throw them off so much. It's like, what? I love how ramshackled that shelter is. Like, yeah, that'll stop Hitler. Oh, speaking of the big man himself, this is absolutely one of the watch-alongs that is gonna fall under the half of Doctor Who reviews with limited monetization. I don't know why. I think it's because we talk so much about like the Time War, and it just picks up those words and is like, oh, that's a bad word. But Doctor Who always gets the monetization limits. Not that I have ads, but you know. Wow, the Thames is wide. Hello, Jack. This is the first time I'm watching this season of Doctor Who after having seen half of Torchwood. I really like Jack. You know, setting the actor aside, who's, you know, done some stuff. Jackson, I mean, a pansexual time agent from the 51st century. That's just the best description of a character, like, ever. I wish we actually ever did anything with his missing year of memory, though. Like, even in Torchwood, this never comes up. It's just, like, dropped in Doctor Who. And Torchwood mentions, I think he's got some memory problems a few times. I've only seen the first two seasons, but, it's just, it went nowhere. And for a character, like what happened with Jack actually? Was he supposed to be in season 2 maybe and then they just didn't have him? Cuz he was only there for 3 episodes, right? But they clearly seeded more. And I don't think Torchwood was a plan at this point. I'm actually going to see if I can quick Google. Ah, the second season of Eccleston's Ninth Doctor, this is from Reddit, would involve a storyline with dealing with the time agency and Jack's lost memories. When Eccleston announced his intention to leave, Russell T Davies scrapped the time agency storyline plans, but because he felt that Jack, being the longer turned male character, could detract focus from the 10th Doctor's presence during the later's debut season. Big Finish audio does it, of course, but yeah, that's interesting. Doctor Who versus the Time Agency, especially this close after the Time War, is actually a really interesting plot line. Because the Time Lords aren't around to, sort of be the Time Police. So I can see sort of like a fight for becoming the new Time Lords, the new dominant force in time. And of course, they'd be, not a good fit, but yeah, I'd like that actually. Get on it. Ninth Doctor audios. Give me Rose, Jack, and the Time Agency. Actually, I think getting Jack on Big Finish might be a little difficult. Only a matter of time till we get Rose and Eccleston, though. I've never spotted that kid. The guy just like reached across the table, told us turkey from half the people, and cuts to the girl. Like, what? Just with a fork. Yes. Yeah. So from an American perspective, because I actually had to look this up the last time I watched Doctor Who, I knew about that. They evacuated a lot of the kids from London during the Blitz. Um, Evidently, the families that were evacuated, they apparently weren't really inspected a lot. And a lot of them probably shouldn't have been given young kids, and that's what that line is a reference to. Dang it, I was about to say, doesn't anybody? This awful drawing. Like, what is that? That could be anything. Is that a sled? Is that a potato? 900 years of time and space. You think you would have learned how to draw. Yeah, you would. I wonder if the, yeah, spoilers, if the nanobot things actually would convert the Doctor. Because he's not human. He's not going to look like a damaged human. He's just going to look like a different species. And then they're going to go, okay, this is what Time Lords look like. just letting it play, but it's probably the least horror of sort of the horror episodes, but it's a great introduction to, like 9 episodes in. We can lean into horror and it's going to be good. And we can, even just the versatility of Doctor Who, like it can do a whole bunch of genres and stuff like that. Give it 4 generations. Dang it. That's a nice chair. I wonder what the casting for Jack was like. They were just doing the auditions, and then John Barrowman walked in the room, and they went, "Yes, you're hired." For example, very. He is nailing his scenes here. Every one of his lines is just exuberating. "Hi, I'm Jack Harkness, Captain," mind you. It's because the Doctor's not in this scene. He's actually able to go full throttle without someone telling him to knock it off. Oh yeah, they're bad at their jobs. An LCD watch, fabric that won't be invented for 2 decades, and the mobile phone. Very bad at blending in. That was the word. Is this our first two-parter? Because I'm really kind of enjoying the story's progressing, but it's having a lot of time to breathe. I guess the Doctor's doing some intrigue stuff with the empty child, but like we're halfway through the episode, and we're still just kind of introducing ourselves to Jack and settling down in the environment, doing weird time travel tourist stuff. And let's hope nobody notices. I remembered her going back to the house. Does she do that later? She definitely goes back to that house. Oh, is this their backyard then? Maybe. Well, no, it's not their backyard. It's a railroad. I like that. Very Moffat line. We could probably play a drinking game. How many times the 11th Doctor alone says an X that's not an X? Actually, no, we could play a drinking game where he says an X that's not an X. I remember that line being so cool as like a kid the first time I was watching. Like, whoa, is there another Doctor here? Like, is he in a different part of his time? But no, it's just a guy called the Doctor. And it's like, oh yeah. Not even that, it's just a Doctor. Jack, I don't think you care if it's a him or not. I know you're in the 20th century. This always bothered me too. Like, every Nazi in the city has just looked at that and gone, hey, Parliament! Let's go blow it up. Also, is that a spaceship? Oh, hi, Comet. Did you hear me complaining? Good boy. I've seen Torchwood. I think the answer is yes. It's his first episode. We've known him for 10 minutes, and someone's already said no. I mean, I guess she then did say, I actually don't mind. So, you know, fair enough, I think. Does Jack have the ability to, like, throw, you know, like, veer time ships out of the way? Because he did land it a month ago. Like, what if the time agents came 3 weeks ago? You know, I can see why he thought Jack might outshadow a new Doctor, um, because he's sort of, they're painting him as sort of more, not necessarily competent than the Doctor, but like organized than the Doctor, and so it could make the 10th Doctor look more weak, you know, as a character, I guess. I mean, of course, I'm sure David Tennant would have managed, but Oh, yeah. That's why she goes back. Oh, Caden's awake. 29 minutes too late. Malnutrition. He may be an alien, but by God, he's British. The line always struck me as sort of like a weird national pride. And I mean, you know, the Doctor's always been English. But that one was always weird. It's like, I don't know. I think the English Channel probably said no to Hitler a bit more than than England did. He also ran into Russia at some point. Albion, that's the same hospital as they took the pig folk to. In World War III. Or the one before. This is definitely getting demonetized. Why, Doctor Who? Why you do this to me? Oh man, I've just remembered the cliffhanger of this episode. This is a good cliffhanger. So this is... Oh, no, of course. We had... I just talked about it. We had the Aliens of London two-parter. This is better. This is a lot more cohesive than the other two-parter, though. Like, the other two-parter's got a real solid second half, but the first half's not as strong, you know, in season 1 terms. Does she do this regularly? I love this guy's answering a question and just moving on instantly. It's so good. I know the feeling. Oh, and such a good, like, I'll let it play, but as a kid, I was in at this point. And there's the Moffat basic premise. I love this part. Like that, the writing on that, the acting, the reveal. Mwah. The guy that they've cast as the Doctor, um, like it's such a small role, but he is nailing it. I would not be surprised to learn if he's like a famous British actor. Wait, has he got my wedding ring? I want to see that again. I'm sorry, that probably took away from the scene, but it looks like he's got my little swirly sun wedding ring. This special effect, they were worried about getting it past the BBC censors, but basically, apparently the BBC acknowledged that the special effects were so good and just handled so well, they were like, yeah, we'll allow it, which is brilliant. Come up here, combat. And it is really good. Like, even now, that's pretty good. And especially for the time. Love that coat. Come on, Jack. You telling me you never watched a bit of the old Star Treks? There are ice cream vendors in the galaxy. I don't know how that's the first thing that came to head. Never mind. Hey, baby. I like how, I don't think you'd really notice unless you know the answer. But the child is very clearly following Nancy. It's just a subtle thing. It's like you could pick up on it if you're really paying attention, and it's just so naturally done. Because you're like, yeah, there's a gas mask child around. I don't know, Nancy's one of the characters. But she first appears to the Doctor, and we don't know Nancy's there. I definitely scanned for alien tech. I like how defensive he is against that. Like, yes, I'm a con man, but don't accuse me of lying. That's another great premise. Thank you, Mummy. I was quite hungry. Nom 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 nom. This is why I don't write horror. That is the only reason. No other obstacles in my way. Oh, we're getting to the end. We're wrapping up. We're into the final scene. Caden is no longer on Discord. And there we go. Stop the next time on, as only idiots watch that. No, that was an attack. I will get this next episode set up. We are doing both of them, so you can go ahead and recommend everyone get that set up. But I'll leave some time as like a brief little intermission. Yeah, no, that's good. That's a very good episode. The cliffhanger's great. The resolution is great. Actually, no, the cliffhanger's fine. The resolution is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's tense. It's very sort of like children's horror, you know, especially watching it now, much more used to horror. I got into Markiplier, what can I say? Like, I still don't watch anything that's like proper horror. But I've watched more. I liked Markiplier, and I wanted more Markiplier videos. And I'm like, he's got this massive horror backlog I've been ignoring. So yeah, I'll watch some horror games. But so that's like, being horror is very generous. But you know, I think it's good that the first horror episode of Doctor Who was very children's horror. You know, it's like the children will hide behind the sofa, but they'll still watch. That's a little condescending, maybe, because like, the same true for Wild Blue Yonder, even like Midnight. God, I definitely watched Midnight without actually watching Midnight. I probably listened to Midnight. But I mean, you can see a lot of Moffat. It's not as Moffat as something like Blink, which is, you know, like the Angels and the Silence. Taking a very sort of base, primitive fear or something like that, and turning it into a monster. You know, like the Weeping Angels are sort of the fear of what you can't see, like because they only move when you don't see them. That's not. The Weeping Angels didn't invent that, but, you know, that's a very primitive thing, this basic sort of fear. The Silents themselves are, of course, again, it's sort of the fear of the unknown. Like, you forget them every time you look at them. What else has Moffat done? He's... You got Blink, The Silence. What's the other Russell T Davies Moffat story? It's this. Girl in the Fireplace. Oh, Blink. Duh, that's Moffat. That's Russell T Davies. But, yeah, a lot of the lines I can kind of hear when I think, yeah, that 11 would say that. Amy would say that, you know, if it's like a Rose line. And I like Moffat, you know? I got my criticisms of Moffat, like I think everybody does. you know, when you give him free reign, he fumbles. I'm not even gonna say he gets too convoluted. You know, I will, because we got to give some time. You know, I'm gonna give a little bit of time. People get ready, bathroom, snacks, whatever, to go into this. A lot of people will say that after a while, they stopped being able to understand what's going on with River Song because it's too complicated. They basically saw the idea that they're not smart enough to be able to understand what's going on. The problem isn't that the River Song arc is too complicated. It's that there isn't an answer hiding behind the complexity. The reason you can't understand it is because there's nothing to understand. There's a very surface level description of, you know, massive spoilers for River Song. But, you know, River Song is the child of Amy and Rory, who was kidnapped by Madame Kavarian, you know, that sect, and raised to be an assassin to kill the Doctor. But they keep meeting out of order, and actually she became infatuated with the Doctor and married him. That's the Riverlong storyline. Any specifics, you kind of look at basically any two, like, aspects of the River Song arc, and it absolutely falls apart from the beginning. Like, there isn't an answer. There's just conflict and contradiction. And people, like, the more casual audience especially, will kind of go, I don't understand this, it's too complicated, without actually, like, they won't put in the effort to realize, actually, this is just a contradiction, and there isn't an answer. It just doesn't work. Why did the Silence go back in time to make humanity go to the moon? Well, because they needed an astronaut spacesuit. That's the answer. Why didn't the Silence, a group that works for the future Catholic Church, which is a human organization that absolutely knows what an Apollo spacesuit looks like and why they need one? Why can't they just build one? Don't question it. We hadn't thought of that when we wrote the astronaut bit. Like, it's sort of stuff like that where it just doesn't work. But I can enjoy those individual aspects. And I think generally the consensus is, like, every individual aspect of the stories is fine. They just don't go together. In fact, a lot of them are really good. Like, what, that Silence two-parter at the start? Is it, like, Day of the Moon? The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, I think? That's good. That's great. That's a good, really good, solid two-parter. Just ignore the rest. Just don't connect it to anything. You know? But there we go. We've hit about a 5-minute intermission. I did swap the episodes, yeah? Oh, yeah, I swapped the episodes. Oh, no, I moved the time bar. Let's get into, then, the next episode. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That's how we're going to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to cut this up. That's how we're doing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. US version. Actually, I can't. The problem is I can't say it's the US version because the UK version is just going to speed up the audio of these to match the UK. So I'll still say US version even in the UK version. Read the description. That's the only independent source. But yeah. There's my little timers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I should have changed it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go, because my recording timers count up. I'm not usually a fan of previously ons, because, like, I guess if it's the start of a new season, it can be good to refresh what happened before, but it's fine with a two-parter, but it usually tells you what parts are actually going to be relevant. Like with Star Trek, where it's season-long arcs, it's like, oh, this thread's going to come up this episode. It almost feels like I can explain to you what this plot of this episode is from the next time on. But, I mean, this is more academic here for a two-parter. Because so far, I think this is good, and it's just a refresher. I would have imagined when, like, back when these were broadcast, they would have done part 1 immediately before part 2 aired. Like, they did part 1, but then next week they aired part 1, then part 2. Because, of course, nowadays, I'll just go watch part 1 again, like, before part 2 comes out. But I never watched Doctor Who as it came out. It was always on Amazon. Love it! I mean, he acts it so seriously, but I love just how dumb and silly the whole thing is, and it's brilliant. It's not even camp. It's just such a subversion of expectations. It's like, yeah, that makes sense, but it's funny. Also, damn, I've just realized, hang on, let's see. 2:14. Because that child is about to slowly walk from that London neighborhood to the hospital. Which is in the middle of London. No, to be fair, because it's the Albion Hospital. Yeah. But I was like, I wonder how long that would actually take him. I was thinking they might have been in the outskirts of London or something. This is probably going to sound weird sped up. The doctor dances. They definitely don't mean dancing. Bill Collinson, that's the producer whose name I can never remember. I'm sorry, I'll let you have your moment. I also like that this is a story with added context. Like, yeah, she's sad about her brother, but when you know the resolution of the story, there's kind of more depth to Nancy's character and what she does. Pompeii is a very busy time. That was fast. I swear I heard some bombs landing like seconds before that. Why would you leave out the back garden, Nancy? Oh, did Jamie go out the front? I don't know, maybe, but... Now would have been a great I miss Ace line. Oh, I see. Once. I love that as well. I mean, Moffat's really nailing it with a lot of Doctor lines under Davies. I got some complaints with how Moffat handles doctors, but he's nailing so many lines here with the ninth. I let that play because I've always liked. That's a great little scene, just kind of like it's really humanizing him, and you can feel the sadness. Like, he stops being sort of a scary alien and starts being a lost little boy. Oh god, you have an annoying voice. Well done, actor. I would have hired him at I pay. I would have said, done. There's the sweat on your brow. I love how, like, how just, like, slappable they made this character, and then it's like, bam, there you go. And then you see the tape not actually connected. Mwah. This right here is a great resume, Moffat. I mean, like, I think Moffat must have known, like, massive Doctor Who fan, I gotta make this one good, or they're not gonna have me back. He gave this one his all. Like, even I think Blink, and like his other ones aren't as well made as this. Oh, did I speak over the good source of potassium line? I want to acknowledge it because it's a very Doctor line. I see it cited a lot. Is like the Ninth Doctor line. Don't drop the banana. Why not? Good source of potassium. Ooh, and then there's hitting a watermelon with a piece of 2x4. Not as good. I choose to believe he actually has attached a watermelon and is beating that wall. I love as well that he's facing a corner of the wall where there are no people. Oh, there they are in gas masks. I remember when he actually used the Sonic to undo a screwdriver. That'd be a godsend. You don't have to worry about getting the angle right. You could do them around tight corners. I'd pay for a Sonic screwdriver that's just a screwdriver. I'll definitely tell them before I leave. Like, this always did bother me. Why didn't Jack go, I got a teleporter, I'll be right back? Does he know the plot? Does he know he can look all suave and cool if he shows up at the last minute? See? Makes sense. Can't argue with that logic. Doesn't have to write, you got a machine for it. I can read a letter for him. He doesn't even have paper. Oh no, he does have paper. I remember. It looked like he didn't have paper though, because it's at the start. I mean, Moffat literally used this trick like 2 minutes ago, but it does. It's. I mean, it's working. It's very Moffat as well. Like an innocuous thing, just becomes the, you know, supernatural. Like the typewriter sound, just the tape recorder playing, and suddenly that's kind of the big bad. Not necessarily a big bad, but you know, kind of an instrument of whatever the alien of the week is. Oh, let's see what the kid wrote to his dad, actually. What's the start of this letter? Absolute nonsense. Perfect. I mean, flash forward to David Tennant literally disappearing from thin air on Bad Wolf Bay. I mean, in classic Moffat style, little weaker than the first. Like, Jack didn't tell them the plan just because. He did reuse the same trick twice. And the child's got, like... The child wants to be creepy now. I mean, they already bought the rights to Rick Astley. I would have loved if it was Rick Astley again. Someone, edit this scene, but replace the music with Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. At the end as well, when Rose and the Doctor are dancing, it's Never Gonna Give You Up. I do love... Maybe it is actually just because Nancy is an adult playing someone younger than they're supposed to be. But they really did manage to find an actress who looks like a child, or rather not an adult, like a teen, who is actually looks older than they are. Which is... It just gives off the vibe of an adult trying to pass as a teen. I've seen UK teeth. Have you seen the Aztecs, Rose? You should have seen me when I was Paul McGann. Put some Beatles on. That'll get him going. I remember Hartnell. I mean, it is interesting that it's Moffat writing these scenes. I guess he did write the 11 to, you know, love River. And he definitely wrote Capaldi to love Clara. But yeah, he also wrote like I don't know. Moffat's weird with the Doctor. That's the end of the sentence. He stole the title from a man named Jack Hart. In fact, his name's not Jack. Captain Doctor. I'm down for it. See, that was a bit of a cheat because the background, like with that last shot, they were clearly in the hospital when Jack started speaking. All the pieces. I think we've got all the pieces now. Hey, even he did it! See? Even the Doctor. Do you think that was a flubbed line, actually? Dances, nanobots, flubbed. I would not be surprised if that was a flubbed line. Doctor dances. Wiki. Look, give him a break, Rose. The last time he danced was like, I was gonna say several bodies ago. I could see Paul McGann dancing in the first like 30 minutes of the movie, but then not after that. So, evidence for the flood line theory. In the DVD commentary, Stephen Moffat reveals that up until a very late stage, nanogenes in his story were called nanites, but another editor thought it sounded too much like the Star Trek stuff. Hey, that is the same guy from the beginning who Jack was like, excellent bottom. I was wondering about that. Wait a minute, the BBC just released all these scripts, didn't they? Find a page, nano bots. No, it looks like it is in the script. I think it is in the script, darn. He did a good flub, like, act, though. I was hoping it was Martha. I hope it's Martha. I'm still going for it. I bet these parts must be fun for actors, because, like, what other role do you get to, like, do that, but also be saying mommy? It's gotta be just something new every day, you know? Rose, grow up. Doctor, beat some future into Rose. This is the one, like, distract the guard scene I'm fine with. Actually, I suppose the first time it ever happened might be good, but it always bothers me. Algae, none here. Not at work. It always bothers me, though, when it's like, go distract the guard. It's like, surely Guard School 101 is like, distract the guard is a thing, guys. I want to distract the guard scene where it doesn't work. Heck, give me a distract the guard scene where the guard was gay, but Rose didn't know. I've never seen that. How come I've never seen that? Where someone goes to distract the guard, but, like, it turns out they're gay. I'm sure that exists, but I've never seen it. You know, I've realized they do it like Nancy's in a lot of danger, but every other gas mask person we've seen besides the child literally just stays perfectly still unless disturbed. Unless the actual kid came, but still. Hey, and it's finally Mauve. Well, see, now Nancy would have been screwed, but that's besides the point. Wait, are they just keeping them in shipping containers? That's a little bit of a stretch from the Sonic. Like the Sonic moving the barbed wire closer together and fusing it? Cool. Growing barbed wire, that's a stretch. In fact, this might be one of the few things the Sonic does that I'm like, no. Even though there was a bit of West Country in that, I was born here, like... And I thought my country had a problem with claiming to have won World War II. Yes, actually. Cough drops is a severe problem in Trula batteries. Let's gloss over that. I guess we've got, like, immortal folk, I'm sure. Never mind. Man, I hate when you spend all this work not to invent gray goo, and then the aliens go off and do it. To justify that, though, the Chula could easily be a race that literally don't give a damn if their aliens their nanogenes start modifying aliens, and they've told their nanogenes what they look like. So, you know, problem solved. Also, ship's damaged, nanogene's broken, I guess. I don't know. Is that an American stop sign? I mean, I guess even this episode uh is like Moffat leaning on like base fears and stuff like that, or like really basic stuff, because it's like, you know, it's just a kid being a little boy, and but now he has godlike powers, you know. Hi, Comet. You coming to see the bit where he says everybody lives? That's not for a while. I wonder if there's a cultural or a World War II thing I'm not understanding about why specifically being in 1941 would matter, other than just past bad, maybe? I don't know. And here's the good one. I mean, it is a Moffat story. So just this once until the later times. I have a niece named Rose, and it is my life's mission to fit the quote of this episode into casual conversation. We'll get there. Let's all do it together. You know, I've just realized though, I'm gonna look for a line. Does that mean that the nanogenes are just always gonna be on Earth now, making everyone not die? And let's just hope the military brushes that one off. Oh, here we go. I mean, this was so good in this season. Here we go. Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody lives. I mean, it's the Moffat trope now. He did it so often and kind of undermined it, but in this season, it works so well. Look how happy he is. Like, he hasn't been this happy, quite literally, this for Generation's entire life. Like, I don't think there's been an episode where everybody lives. Even, so far. Even Rose had, like, that mechanic guy die that they mention. And here's my favorite woman. Oh, you must be right, Dr. Constantine. Thank you very much. Well, that's important. Yeah, get that Churchill guy out of here. Make sure to vote him out. Massively. Landslide loss. Shock the nation. Next guy's much better. Don't remember his name, but that's, you know, no one does. And there's the line that, yeah, the nanogenes turn themselves off. Red bicycle when you were 12. I choose to believe that the doctor, every time he picks up a companion, he goes and finds out like what they asked for Christmas when they were kids, and then he's just been waiting like 900 years to use that line ever since he found out who Christmas was, is the first doctor. Like, I'm kind of like Father Christmas. He's got a Wizard of Oz joke somewhere as well. Could you go somewhere and beam Jack out? Well, I guess. Brilliant. Spaceship has a sink. And she checked. Russell T Davies era does these sort of wiry industrial spaceship looks really well. I mean, it's not very fairy tale. I get why Moffat doesn't do it. And it's very down-to-earth realistic. I get why Davies does. To me, that is the definitive Jack Harkness line. Just literally everything about that line. It just... He was gonna be executed. He had 2 executioners. Also, he woke up in bed with him. Also, they were a couple. Also, they keep in touch. Also, joke about how executioners genuinely don't have people they can keep in touch with. You might be able to fit the bomb down the little grate in the floor. Oh, look at that transition. That's really well done. I mean, it's easy. I know how they do it, but that's nice. Like, just TARDIS is in this ship. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. See, it'd be so much better. Probably had shorter. I bet Seven would have danced, you know. You'd probably see Seven dance. Whenever Mel takes away his spoons. Oh, come on, a bit more oomph to that one, Jack. When I was Paul McGann, this is what I did. Why don't we just replace every song with Rick Astley? I don't understand. Who needs the Doctor Who intro even? Just Rick Astley. That's all the world needs. It looks so weird with Rick Astley. And there we go. That's the wrong button. That button, that button, that button. There we go. It's always confusing to me. Yeah, no, Empty Child Doctor Dance is, I mean, it's a it's a great start for Stephen Moffat. I know technically not his first Doctor Who writing credit, because he did Curse of Fatal Death, the charity special. I really need to give a watch sometime. I've seen a lot of clips of it, but I've probably seen all the major jokes, just not the bits in between. But yeah, Empty Child Doctor Dance is great two-parter, very Moffat. There are maybe some bits that suffer from when Moffat got to write so many stories, like, you know, Just As Once Rose Everybody Lives isn't as impactful when, you know, just this once, Clara, someone's gonna die, you know? That would have actually... It would have been dumb, but I would find it absolutely hilarious if sometime during, like, the Smith or Capaldi era, he had the line, there was a line, it's more a Matt Smith line, like, I guess with Amy, like, just this once, Amy, someone's gonna die. Could you imagine that, it would kill the mood in Eternally, but just in the Star Beast. It's like, it's not, no one human has anything to say to me today, it's just this once, Amy, someone's gonna die. But no, yeah, I mean, as a kid, I remember that being fantastic because of the horror elements. They're much more played down when, you know, it's child's older, I'm older, but more importantly, just much more used to horror-y stuff. But it's still, season 1, very solid. It's a Moffat under Russell T Davies, so, you know, it's up there. The Gas Mask Child is the first iconic villain of the modern era, I believe. You could make a case for the Slovene, but I don't think the Slovene are iconic in the best way. The Slovene are more iconic in Sarah Jane, I suppose. Like, if you grew up with Sarah Jane, you probably remember the Slovene a lot more. Caden didn't, if you remember. But yeah, next week, I should have Caden back. I'll make sure he catches up on these 2 episodes. But we got Boomtown, which is, again, I think an underrated episode. Just a good character-driven story, follow-up to the World War III Aliens in London. But yeah, I think it's great to see the Doctor, like, on his arc. He's close to regenerating. The inclusion of Jack, we didn't know that yet. I think the conclusion of this season was always the Doctor learning how to be the Doctor again after being in the Time War for so long. You know, learning that sort of, like, Paul McGann went, fantastic! What? These shoes! They fit perfectly! You know, back to that. That's when McGann became the Doctor. I love that line so much. And yeah, because afterwards, Boomtown, you know, it's a bit of a downer. Not a downer. It's not the happy fun time. I guess the other 2, you know, we're getting into the series, but so yeah, I guess this is when you'd have the Doctor kind of like, it goes right. Like, it doesn't have to always be doom and gloom. Even in, you know, the middle of, not even the middle, the start of the Blitz, It's like, no, everybody lives today, Rose. Like, just this once that everyone lives, and that win you can see in him with the happiness, the exuberance, the dancing, literally, potentially figuratively. But, yeah, it's just really good. And of course, you know, every time it hits me, we're now 2 weeks. Well, I guess we're 3 weeks away from shooting Gadwa, but 2 weeks away from the Ninth Doctor regenerating. Which, come to think of it, I've probably at this point heard more Ninth Doctor audio than I have TV. He now exists more on audio. Let's see, 13 Doctor Who. Doctor Who audio dramas, 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9, 10. No, I don't think I haven't heard more. But I think 11, 12. Ooh, I think he's getting close to Christopher Eccleston playing the Doctor more on audio than in TV. Which I think is true for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Definitely 8th. Potentially 4th. I don't know. Tom Baker's done a lot. I don't know. Who knows? But yes, I will wrap things up today. Hopefully we'll get Caden back tomorrow. I will say thank you all very much for watching.